Good morning, students. Welcome to this session on writing from Unit 6 of your Communicative English syllabus. Writing is also an equally important skill. So, listening and reading would be receptive skills. Speaking and writing are supposed to be productive skills. So, writing is equally important. When you come to writing skills, there are different kinds of writing that you would have been exposed to all along your school education. And today we are going to see something about notice writing. So, a notice is a short piece of formal writing. It is usually to announce an event, give details of a meeting, arrange a tour or camp, etc. So, notice obviously serves a specific purpose of sharing information. What is the purpose of a notice? It has to attract the attention of the readers with information, and it should be framed properly. So, due importance has to be given to notice writing too. And when we write a notice, we have to remember a few things. That is, the title should give the exact kind of information that you want to share. And the name of the organization or the department or the institution or the office which is issuing the notice should be mentioned. And the notice should have a proper heading. The very title of the notice would tell the reader what exactly is the notice all about. And it's very, very important to mention the date of the issue of notice, because date is very important even in letter writing or in any formal writing, because date becomes a kind of a record. It becomes a kind of a legal document. And then comes the content part of it, which you have to take care of in order to frame it properly with grammatically correct sentences with a particular kind of a structure, followed by the signature of a person who is taking responsibility to issue the notice with the name and designation. So, the components of a notice would be the name of the department or the organization, the notice heading, the date of issue of notice, and the actual content of it, followed by the signature of the person who prepared the notice or from whom it has come with the name and designation. And then when you try to write or prepare a notice informing the students about a tour or an event to be organized, you have to mention the date and time. So, the content of any notice would include the salient features of a notice. Next comes writing a speech. Once again, you may wonder how writing a speech can be mastered, because a speech, by speech, what we mean is something that is spoken, and how writing finds a place. But if you understand the language, you will know that all the four LSRW skills are integrated. Without listening, there is no speaking. Without reading, there is no writing. Similarly, writing a speech is equally important, because when you deliver a speech, the presentation part of a speech is very important. That is, the exact delivery of a speech is very important, no doubt about it. But before delivering the speech, a lot of homework has to go into the writing part of it. You need to write the speech. There is also something called extempore speech, where you may speak without any kind of a preparation. But most of the speeches are very formal and they need to be prepared. And sometimes you may have to choose a topic which is very relevant to the audience. You may be given the choice, or sometimes you may not be given the choice. If you are given the choice, you should try to choose the topic which is relevant to the audience, to the listeners. And once the topic is decided, you should know how to focus on a particular message which needs to match the occasion. Suppose a speech is to be given on a sports day celebration. Naturally, the speech would focus more on the physical fitness and also the health part of it. And many such things related to sports will have to be brought into such a speech, for which we need to do some work. And also, you should think of the purpose of giving a particular speech. Why are you giving a speech on this particular topic? And what kind of a message that you're going to get across to the listeners or the audience, that has to be very specific. We cannot just give off the cuff. We cannot give a speech off the cuff without any content or a message to be carried. And you have to pick your main ideas. That's very important. And do not try to bring in too many ideas into your speeches. Sometimes we want to say a lot of things to the listeners, but sometimes you have to take care of the time limit which is allotted. So depending on the availability of the time, you may have to customize your speeches by trying to add more information, or you should be willing to reduce the information. But the main ideas should not be compromised in any kind of a speech. And we have some more useful tips to be taken into consideration while delivering a particular speech. The very main purpose of a public speech especially is to bring about a kind of an impact on the audience, which means we need to influence the audience. So when you prepare a speech, when you write it down, you should write as if you're going to talk. And remember that you're going to write a speech and not an essay. So the kind of jargon that you're going to use, the kind of tone that you're going to adopt, all that must be suitable for delivering a particular speech. And try to use short sentences. And we need not show our proficiency in the language when you prepare a speech. It need not be pretentious, meaning to say that it can be as natural as possible. And we should try to use some simple and concrete words and not just any kind of a jargon. And some concrete details would keep people interested. Some factual information will definitely bring about a change. For example, when we spoke about the environment, when you want to really make people think after listening to your speech, you should provide them with a lot of statistics. What is the gravity of the situation that we are facing today? And how animals and the entire environment is getting polluted and affected because of the selfishness of man. So you need to provide the audience with a lot of information and statistics which would really keep people interested in listening to you. And we should also check whether we are able to provide factual information. So especially in an informal speech, you can speak about your opinion. But in a formal speech, even if you state an opinion, it should be substantiated with factual information. Otherwise, we will be subject to criticism and we would invite unnecessary controversy when we bring in unwanted details. And you should also speak with conviction. This is very important. If you really feel very strong about a particular topic or an issue of great importance, for example, you talk about a social issue of dowry or even drug addiction today, or any environmental issue about pollution or whatever that you want to speak about, the very conviction with which you speak would be reflected in the kind of delivery of your speech. So you should know what you're talking about. When we deliver a speech, we should remember that the audience should know what we are talking about. And that is possible only when we speak with a lot of conviction. And in order to get a lot of information, we have the library or the internet. So, collect information, we have plenty of material available. So, even with the click of your mouse or even with your smartphone, you will be able to get the meanings of words. Or if you want to know about somebody, very easily you can collect information about any topic under the sun. So, information technology plays a very important role in this, and we need to make best use of the available net resources. And in order to make your speech more effective, we need to have a proper structure. So, whenever we speak about writing skills or even speaking, we always tell them to follow a particular structure. Even when we speak a dialogue, we begin with a good morning or hi, how are you? So, that is the beginning for a speech or a dialogue. But when we talk about a formal speech, it should have a proper introduction. And even in letter writing, you would have noticed that there is a proper introduction. Or you take essay writing or summary writing, for example, you begin with a proper introduction and then go to the body of the writing, the main content of an essay, and obviously you try to conclude with a proper kind of suggestion or recommendation. So when it comes to speech, there are different kinds of speeches when you talk about public speaking. So you can just give a kind of expository speech, or you can talk about an experimental work that is being done, or you may give a suggestion. So all that is very important in speech. Whatever may be the kind of speech that you're going to deliver, you should have a proper introduction, the body of the speech, and a conclusion. And after writing the first draft of your speech, you have to go back and look at the words which you can edit or replace. So editing the words can make your points clearer. Editing plays a very important role in any kind of writing. So when you're writing a speech, you may begin with pulling in lot of information wherever you get information from. But later on, depending on the availability of time for the delivery of the speech, you may have to cut short a few things. Or sometimes you would have made use of certain words which you think may not be very relevant. Or you would have made use of phrases where you can replace them with one word substitutes. Or you would have used a word which is not very powerful, which can be replaced with some other synonymous word. So all these might be possible only when you start editing your speech. See, even when a movie is being taken, it is taken for nearly 5 hours or 6 hours, and a lot of editing goes into it to bring it to 2 hours or even 2.5 hours. Similarly, when it comes to novel writing, fiction writing, you might have heard of that, where the writers write nearly 1,000 pages and they try to bring it to 1/3 of what they have written earlier, which means it has to be condensed, it has to be edited. So in précis writing, you would have learned how from a passage of about 250 words, you are asked to bring it to nearly 1/3 of that particular passage, bring it to just 80 words or so, because what is unwanted, you are going to remove and try to give the audience what they exactly need to listen to. So that is the purpose of any effective speech. And here, when we talk about the powerful speeches made by people all over the world, in your book, you come across the example of 7 Suzuki at the United Nations. When she was just 12 years old, this young girl was called to deliver a speech. And you know what the topic was? Obviously, it was something to do with the environmental concerns. She was so agitated by the way that we are damaging the environment and what our previous generations, our fathers, our forefathers gave to us, we are not maintaining that properly, and in fact, we are causing so much of a damage to the environment, and what we are going to give to the next generation may be still worse. So to prevent this from happening, the girl made a very powerful speech. The girl who silenced the world for 5 minutes. She was able to do that in merely 5 minutes, which means she would have spoken with conviction, with proper use of words, to bring about a change in the entire audience, and that too, the delegates attending a conference at the United Nations. Shall we listen to the excerpt of the speech by Suzuki? Let me read it very slowly for you to get the impact of this particular speech. I am only a child and I don't have all the solutions, but I want you to realize neither do you. You don't know how to fix the holes in our ozone layer. You don't know how to bring salmon back up a dead stream. You don't know how to bring back an animal now extinct. And you can't bring back forests that once grew where there is now desert. If you don't know how to fix it, please stop breaking it. Do not forget why you are attending these conferences, who you are doing this for. We are your children. You are deciding what kind of world we will grow up in. Parents should be able to comfort their children by saying everything is going to be all right. We are doing the best we can, and it is not the end of the world. So this is the essence of the speech given by a 12-year-old girl at the United Nations. What does she talk about? She talks about all the environmental issues that we are talking about. And she questions the generations of people of today who are not worried about the kind of ozone layer, the kind of pollution that we are causing to the environment. We are not worried about whether the fishes are alive or dead. And we are not worried about how many animals are going to be extinct. And she is also worried about how many of the forests are becoming deserts. So she says, if you are not able to fix the issues, we don't have any right to break it. Suppose you know how to fix a particular thing, you can break it. But once you have destroyed it, and once you are not able to undo the kind of destruction that you have caused to the environment, you absolutely have no right to destroy. And it is not our property. And man has become very selfish. So she makes a very appealing speech through this, saying that we are the children whom you should be concerned about. The parents of today should give the support and guidance to the children of today that everything is going to be all right. So it is not just saying that everything is going to be all right. You just have to say that something has to be done in order to stop the kind of destruction that we are causing to nature. We are also going to look at a few environmentalists who have fought for a green globe and save nature for the future. Nature for future. That is the buzzword for today. And it is the need of the hour. So you would have heard about some of these people, the environmentalists, the environmental activists who have contributed enormously to the protection of the environment. So we have Nammalvar of Tamil Nadu, we have Jyotsana Sitling of West Bengal, and we have one more person from Assam. All these names are given with their particular place where they come from. We have Ms. Carlson, we have Timmaka from Karnataka, we have Wangari Maathai from Africa. So they have devoted their entire life in order to save nature. And to speak about Nammalvar, he has brought about a revolution in Go Green kind of a campaign. And there are many followers and disciples to Nammalvar. And to know more about these people, you can always go to the Google search and try to get to know more information. It's not just getting the information alone, it is also getting the inspiration to do something. That is more important. And we spoke about writing skills. We are going back to another skill which is equally important. Sometimes writing may be too long, but to replace writing, but bringing about the same kind of an impact, you can do with a lot of pictures. A picture paints 1,000 words. So you can make use of the pie charts, the bar graph, the posters, which are all pictorial representations of any idea. You can make a very powerful point. Whenever I speak about PowerPoint presentation, I tell them with a PowerPoint presentation, you can make a very powerful point. So pictorial representation helps people to just condense everything in a picture form or a graph form or even a pie chart, which gives you lot of statistics and information, and it is open to interpretation. So that also we need to learn as students of today. And you may be wondering what kind of career is possible when you take to this environmental conservation. So you have a whole lot of job opportunities with regard to environmental science. Since you're all in +1, you may be finishing your school life in another year, after which you may take up environmental science, which is a very popular subject to take at college level, at undergraduate level. There is also something called environmental engineering, which is picking up. So once you finish this degree, you have wonderful opportunities coming. So you have a lot of opportunities by way of becoming an environmental consultant, a marine biologist, nature conservation officer, recycling officer, sustainability consultant, waste management officer, water quality scientist, environmental health practitioner, landscape architect, town planner, toxicologist. You have TNPCB, you would have heard about it, Tamil Nadu Pollution Control Board. So there are several departments which try to do a lot towards the protection of the environment. So job opportunities are plenty in this particular field. And to get more ideas about the environment, many books are being suggested here. You can try to find them on the internet, or you can go to libraries and try to get a lot of information that is possible. And this is going to be the last part of our session, which is very, very important. Look at the title that is given to this particular slide. Think globally, but act locally. Because these are all global issues. All the issues that we spoke about now are global issues. But globally, we may not be able to bring about any kind of a change unless we try to act locally. In our own place, in our own capacity, in our own small ways, we will be able to bring about a great change. And when I talk about change, I cannot help but think about Nammalvar, who said, change is not just a word, it is an action. We keep talking about change as a word, but change means action. We have to act to bring about a change. And you have to visualize the change that you want. So you try to be the change that you want to happen. And as Suzuki said, it is easy to destroy, but it is not easy to create. And all the raw materials and everything that we use in our daily life Everything comes from nature. We have not created anything. You look at the books, you look at the table, you look at the furniture, you look at the television, the metal, the resources, the petrol, all things which we use in our daily life, everything comes from nature. And we are capable of destroying, but we are not capable of creating anything. So we should be very careful when we try to use it for our own welfare. And here, once again, in the lines of John Kennedy, I would like to modify the quote and appeal to you, saying that do not count what the earth has given you. The earth has given you a lot of things, but count what you are going to give back to the planet in order to save the planet for the future generations. And once again, let me complete this session with the quote of Suzuki. If you don't know how to fix it, please stop breaking it. I want you to act, think and act. Thank you very much.